Uh, so March the 4th, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's do the meditation with Suzanne Wilson today. So let's close our eyes. Try to elevate our thoughts, calm down all the concernings and things that troubles that we had during the week. And let's invite the high spirits, our guides, the good spirits to be here today with us. And not only to guide us in this study, but also protecting us, protecting this group. Every member of this group being here today or not. And let's play the audio.
Sit upright in a chair, both feet on the floor. Yoga students may prefer the half lotus position, or you may need to lie down with a pillow under your knees to support your back. Let your hands rest in your lap, palms facing up. Close your eyes and mouth and breathe gently through your nose. With each inhale, visualize white light entering your body. And as you exhale, let all your breath out slowly, breathing in white light and breathing out all stress, anxiety, letting it go. Simply be in the now, the present, this very moment. Divine Source, thank you for blessing me with this day, with my life and all my many blessings. Thank you for giving me another day to be of service in this life and in this body. I ask that you cleanse me in divine white light, erasing all energy that does not belong in my auric field. Surround me in a beautiful, translucent, golden bubble of protection that is bathed in your divine white light, sealing in all my positive energies and good health, sealing out all negative energies, all ill health, all entities from lower realms, and I send white light to the lower realms, so that only peace, love, and protection may enter in. I give gratitude for my spiritual team, spirit guides, angels, and my loved ones in the light. I send this light out to each of my loved ones on both the physical plane and the spiritual plane. I send this light out to all those in need of a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. I connect with universal consciousness. I connect with all beings who are in meditation at this moment. I am eternal. I am one with Divine Source. I am one with all. Compassion guides all my thoughts, words, actions, and I trust that I will complete my greater work before I transition to heavenly home. With gratitude and joy, I am a child of God. And so it is.
And so it is. Oops. Okay, so last time we shared some thoughts about some ideas about this statement from Albert Einstein, and following the same idea, I brought this video for us to watch and comment and think about it, because I thought it has a lot to do with what we are studying right now. So again, following the same idea that we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking we used when we created them, I will play this video. The video is not so important, but the message, and then we'll discuss a little bit the contents of what we will hear from it. Let's see.
If you collect 100 black ants and 100 fire ants and put them in a jar, nothing will happen. But if you take the jar, shake it violently, and leave it on a table, the ants will start killing each other. Red believes the black is the enemy, while black believes the red is the enemy, when the real enemy is the person who shook the jar. The same is true in society. Men versus women, black versus white, faith versus science, young versus old, etc. Before we fight each other, we must ask ourselves, who shook the jar?
So
if you collect 100 black ants and 100 fire...
Okay. Okay, so who shook the jar? That's what I would like us to think about. This is more like homework for all of us. And since we are talking about March of Progress and thinking about how society had evolved along the years, it's so easy for us to point to everybody but ourselves when we are asked who shook the jar. So we point everybody. It's so unusual for us to think about ourselves, right? And when in reality, I would like us to hear and watch this video, because for people like us, people like this, so eager to study, so eager to learn and seek where the truth is, right? What is the truth behind the obvious? So I really believe that people really doing this, making this effort, is in the march of progress, and it's very much aligned with with those teachings from the spirits books and with those teachings from the spirits. And if you remember what we studied last Saturday in the question 785, what is the greatest obstacle to progress? Pride and selfishness. So who shook the jar? It's so easy to point on somebody else, but it's very unusual to point ourselves, to think about what is our contribution to that jar being shaken, right? And the spirits then said, pride and selfishness is the answer for the obstacle, major obstacles to the progress. And then they say this is in terms of moral progress. As intellectual progress is constant, and at the first glance, it seems to magnify those vices by developing ambition and the love of possessions and wealth. And then they continue, the spirits, they give us a hope that one day, this is temporary, but one day that will change. But for now, we are still pointing each other, right? And like Plato said so many years ago, we can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark, when the real tragedy is when men are afraid of the light. So who shook the jar is sometimes so obvious, so easy, right, to know, but we get so distracted, we get so focused on possessions, ambitions, etc., that we just easily point one another without thinking about our contribution to what's going on. So just sharing something for us to think about. And hi, Cynthia, you have your hand, sorry.
No, I put my hand up immediately because I thought that was a very, very good way of saying it. Who it was who shook the jar that created the problem.
Mm-hmm.
We see this is happening today. I don't need to say more. Who is shaking the jar?
Exactly. Who is shaking the jar? And okay. Am I recording? Yes, I
Yes.
Yeah, Gloria, sorry.
A couple of things. Sometimes I'm the red ant and sometimes I'm the black ant. Sometimes I'm creating, sometimes I'm destroying. And I read something this week and I thought it spoke to me. I'm perfectly imperfect. I'm God's creation. I'm, you know, some days I've got it all together and some days I shake the jar.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to tell you, the synchronicity is just more than I can keep in. The group I was in right before this one was Nancy Freer's on Angels, the new group that meets once a month.
Ah, you went to it. Uh-huh.
And she started it with this quote, Anna. And she's not in our group. She started it with this quote. So
About who shook the jar?
No, we cannot solve our problems with the same level of thinking we use when we created them. Albert Einstein. And it, you know, you sit there and you try to be calm, but I wasn't calm. I was like, oh shit. It's wonderful. We're so interconnected. Spirit is sending us the message through multiple venues.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't get it the first time, but I sure got it the second time, kind of a thing, you know? So I'll probably get it a third time. And thank you for this, because then here you presented it, then she presented it, then you came back and reinforced it. So this is the third time I'm getting this message, and it's getting through. It's getting through.
There's no coincidence. They
No
got-
coincidences.
they know better what we need, what it takes for us to really grasp the idea. Yeah. Thank you, Gloria, for sharing. Leda, please.
About what you were saying, Gloria, we all have these days, better days and worse days. And sometimes we get really angry about some things that shouldn't cause so much anger. And
Leda, you mute yourself.
sorry. So sometimes we get really angry about things that shouldn't be the cause for that. And we know that sometimes this is the influence of a spirit, right? That is multiplying, making it worse for us to keep it together. So one way of changing the level of our thought or of our thinking is to pray, to breathe and pray and calm down and
Meditate.
really remembering this quote, right, from Einstein, and trying to get higher, because this is a matter of a vibration. We get down on our vibrations and we need to go up again, and we do that by praying and meditating. That's the best way to try to do it. So we have to, when we are disturbed, we just need to remember this and try to calm down. It's not easy, but it's the only way.
Thanks, Leda.
Yeah, very, very well said, Leda. As a matter of fact, one day, it was in the middle of the pandemic, and it was one of those days when I was feeling like I am the red ant or the black ant. And I decided to walk for a little bit. And when I was walking, I was, in my mind, I was talking to God, and then I was asking for some directions, some answers. And as I was thinking and talking in my mind to God, I saw this beautiful flock of they were not ducks, they were duck-like, just flying over me. So they were very close, but flying over me. And then I look up, and I thought, oh, nice, that's pretty and unique. So I continue my conversation with God, and then I said, by the time I was coming back home, I said, okay, I will go back home and I will open the Gospel according to Spiritism, and I will see what message you have to me. I'm not that smart, so it has to be very clear so I understand. And then when I opened the Gospel according to Spiritism, there was this page talking about this a quote that is in the Bible, actually, saying, look up the birds in the sky. They do not Hyacinth will remember, they do not
They do not spin, they do not reap or spin. But yet I say to you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these.
Exactly. And then I thought about the birds flying over me. I said, oh, holy, because I was concerned about so many things, earthly life, and the message was being given to me at the very same moment. And then I asked for an answer again, and it was the same. So yes. Amazing.
Consider the lilies of the field is how it starts.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Thank you. All right. So last time we met, that was in the Law of Progress, 787, Declining Nations is the topic. Are there individuals who are intrinsically rebellious towards progress? And the answer is yes, but they are progressively becoming extinct physically. And the letter A, what will be the fate of the souls that incarnate in these races? And the answer, that will reach perfection by experiencing other lives. God doesn't disinherit anyone. And letter B, so the most civilized human beings may have been savages and cannibals. And then the answer, you were one once, even more than once, before becoming what you are now. So, and the continuation is 788. Nations are collective individualities that pass through the phases of infancy, maturity, and decline just as individuals do. Does this truth, as proven by history, imply that the most advanced nations of this century will ultimately experience their decline and end just like those of antiquity? What do we think?
Yep,
Yeah,
it's in the cards.
that's the law of progress.
Empires rise and fall.
Exactly. So Hyacinth, would you please read the answer? Can you?
Nations are collective individualities that pass through the phases of infancy, maturity, and decline, just as individuals do. Does this truth, as proven by history, imply that the most advanced nations of this century will ultimately experience their decline and end, just like those of antiquity? Nations that only live in a material life and whose greatness is based on force and territorial expansion are born, grow, and die, because the strength of a nation eventually becomes exhausted, like that of an individual. Nations whose selfish laws are opposed to the progress of enlightenment and charity die because light kills darkness and charity kills selfishness. That being said, nations and individuals also have a spiritual life, and those whose laws are in harmony with God's eternal laws will continue to live and serve as a beacon for other nations.
That's powerful. Leda, please. Thank you, Hudson.
Luis was sharing a story yesterday about a friend of his that was very interesting because this friend of his, Maria and Guileni were there. His friend remembered many lives as a warrior, a Roman warrior, and other kinds of warriors. And he was a very powerful Roman warrior at some point. And as a consequence of that, of the act of conquering and other nations and all, he had to reincarnate as a Viking later. And he had in himself this very feeling against the barbarians, against the Vikings, against these less civilized people. And then he said that it was one of his worst lives because he was very rebellious against it. But God does that as the law of cause and effect, so that we can learn being in the skin of those who we have made bad. The words don't come to me sometimes. So we will suffer what we caused them to suffer. That's what happens.
We suffer the consequences of our own wrongdoings, right? So we prepare the world that we are going to live tomorrow.
Yeah, and sometimes as a different race and a different nation because of what we caused as the representative of one nation, of one feeling.
Thank you, Leda. Okay. Anybody else? No. So the following one then is 789. Will progress ultimately unite all the people of the earth in a single nation? We want to believe. Any comment? Will progress ultimately unite all the people of the earth in a single nation?
Yes, I have a comment.
Yes.
The answer is most certainly yes, but it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while.
And by a while, I mean a few thousand years.
I want to say that we are already a single nation, but we just don't know it.
Well, of course.
We are just trying to get used to the idea. We are being educated.
Tell that to the religionists.
Yeah. Hyacinth, please. Thank you, John.
I was listening to a talk earlier today, and this man, he had been on LSD for a long time, and he was saying that it was revealed to him that this century will be one of great change. Falling down and a building up. So it won't be 1,000 years, Jazz. It's within this. We're already 23 years into this century. So it's happening, actually.
And you call me an optimist.
Yeah, it's in progress, right? It's in the works.
I'll see if I can find the link and give it to you, because it was really very interesting talk.
Yeah, please share with us.
It was from the Scientific and Medical Network.
Very nice. Thank you. Leda.
We will go on talking about this, the wars, right? Because we used to believe that this union of nations would come with a war, that one empire would unite all the nations, like Rome, like England did. So, but it's not that way, not by force. But it's more like in the United Nations, when each and every country will give part of their sovereignty and soberania. Do you know this
Sovereignty.
word?
Sovereignty. You got it right.
Yeah.
You got it right.
Oh, thank you. So you give part of your sovereignty for everyone else. So this is the only way that union of all the countries would work. If everybody gives up a part of their own power to the greater good, right? And we're starting that. I agree with you, Hyacinth. We have started that, but there's a long way to go yet.
Yeah, it is in the process. So Leda, please, would you please read the answer for us in the comment?
Yes. Will progress ultimately unite all the people of the earth in a single nation? No, not into a single nation. That would be impossible because climate differences yield distinct habits and needs that make up nationalities, each of which always need laws tailored to its special habits and needs. Charity has no geographical boundaries and makes no distinction between skin colors. When God's law is the basis of human-made law everywhere, and the law of charity is practiced among nations and among individuals, everyone will live in peace and happiness because no one will attempt to do wrong to a neighbor or live at the expense of others. I think what they mean is we can have the same law of being good to each other, doing the right thing, but there always be some cultural differences, some habits because of the weather, because of being born that way, and this will be always kept. Traditions, right? Should I read the rest of it?
Yeah, please. That's the comment from Kardec.
The human race advances through the progress of individuals who gradually become enlightened. When they constitute a majority, they take the lead and draw the rest forward. Persons of genius sporadically emerge and give momentum to advancement, and persons of authority, God's instruments, carry out in the course of a few years that the race, left to its own devices, would take several centuries to accomplish. The progress of nations further highlights the justice of reincarnation. Through the efforts of moral individuals, a nation advances intellectually and morally, and it's ultimately happier in this world and in the next. However, during its slow journey over the course of successive centuries, thousands of individuals die every day. What is the fate of those who have fallen along the way? Does their relative inferiority deprive them of the happiness they reserved for future generations? Is their happiness relative? Divine justice cannot permit such an injustice. Through experiencing many lives, the right to happiness is within the reach of all. The legacy of progress doesn't exclude anyone. Those who have lived during barbaric times can come back in a period of civilization in the same nation or another and can profit by the advancement of the various nations on earth. So this is the only explanation for God's justice here is reincarnation, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very well put.
Yeah, very, very well. And good. Yeah, it's very straightforward. Comment on this.
Oh, and it has everything to do with what Hyacinth was talking about. Sometimes for us, we think it will take a long time to make things better, but sometimes there can come some missionary spirits that can change everything, because if we've deserved the right leaders, and if Jesus and the highest spirits send the right leaders, we can go forward in a very short period of time.
Yeah, exactly.
But we have to help them, right? We have to deserve that.
That's what I was about to say. We have to be prepared to receive the, what is up there, what is to come. Otherwise, we'll just spoil, we will not do anything. We will not take advantage of those good spirits coming to promote development and progress. We will not understand them. So we have to be in a position when we'll be able to actually make a good use of that experience, right?
And do our part, right? Because
Exactly.
we have to take responsibility for everything that we do.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So hi, Saint, do you have anything to say?
I'm putting the Professor Back's reference, and there's a YouTube, so you can.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I see now. All right. So with that, I think this is the last on declining nations. The following one is on civilization. And the first one under civilization is 790. Is civilization the progress of humankind, or according to some philosophers, it's decadence? Comment? Gloria, please.
I think the civilization of the indigenous people in the United States territory, North America, was very advanced. And then Europeans came and destroyed it. And I don't see it as advancement. I think what they had was a very spiritual civilization that we have undermined terribly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not only in North America, but I think in the whole American continent, we did the same thing. I mean, the Europeans, they treated the locals the same way when they were so connected to nature, right?
Everything was holy. I mean, the water, the land, the animals, the
Yeah.
plants, everything was holy. And we come along and none of it is. It's just to be used and disrespected. And it makes me sad.
Yeah. I agree. Do you want to read the answer for us, please?
Sure. Is civilization the progress of humankind, or according to some philosophers, it's decadence? It is incomplete progress. Humankind does not suddenly morph from infancy to maturity. Do you want me to do A? Oh,
Yeah,
no,
in the letter A. Yes.
A is it rational to condemn civilization? And you should condemn those who abuse it rather than God's work. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Any comment? No? Anybody want to share something? All right.
I think we are evolving more and more, and now we understand that what happened here in America, in all America, was a lack of respect and human understanding, and that's not the way. Force and violence is never the way.
Mm-hmm.
We should try to get together and respect and grow together, which is something that we are still learning. We don't know how to do that because we always did it to take profit, to explore people, and we don't know how to do it yet. We have to find out how to cooperate with each other.
We are learning little by little. We are learning. It's not a step curve. It's rather a very shy, but we are in the up move. I would say. In the past, when the Europeans came to America and to the entire American continent, and they saw the locals going to a war and taking back home the hands of the warriors, of the defeated ones, or taking their scalp or something like this. It was the same practice across the whole continent. So the Europeans, they saw that, and they just judged those people as savages because of their traditions, right? And but in reality, from their perspective, that was a tradition, and that was a mean to respect the defeated warrior. Evidently not defending the violence is never the answer, but no doubt, like Gloria was saying, you know, they were more connected, and everything seemed to be in balance between man and nature. And in reality now, it doesn't look like, but we are in a journey of educating ourselves, trying to understand the environment we are in, and trying to understand one another and be more respectful, trying to get higher moral values. So, for example, if we think better, I was this morning I was thinking about that because I was listening to the radio, and somebody was talking about women's right, and I thought, you know, like 20 years ago when I just started my career, and I remember that I had my paycheck like 40% less because the next engineer close to me, he was a male, and he was a male, he deserved 40% more. Well, this is no longer acceptable, right? So that's a progress. So we fought. I mean, the women, we fought, and the men, with a good reason, they supported those initiatives, and things are better. May not be ideal, but much better than 20 years or 40 years ago. So we are progressing, I guess, in a very slow way, but we are. It doesn't happen like we're saying here. Humankind does not suddenly morph from infancy to maturity. And it's okay. We have to accept that. 791, will civilization be purified eventually so that the evils caused by it will disappear? What do we think?
Again, according to Professor Beck and his revelations, is that it is happening. We are in the process of understanding.
Yeah.
But it will take a big catastrophe to really to shake people up.
To shake, I mean, for us seems to be so obvious, right? So for people already studying, for people studying whatever, it doesn't matter, spirits books or, Buddhist books or anything that, concentrate or speaks of love, reconciliation, forgiveness. So all these people, I guess they are awakened, but not the majority. And perhaps that's why calamities, they are still the case, they are still a tool that promotes our progress.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's weird talking about distraction to move forward, but that's how it is. So will civilization be purified eventually so that evils caused by it will disappear? And the answer, yes, when humankind's moral nature is as fully developed as its intelligence. Yeah, like we saw so many times, right? There is no advancement if we are working on only one side. So the fruit cannot appear before the flower blooms.
Precisely.
Precisely.
Precisely. Yeah.
Yeah. Very well said. 792, why does civilization not produce all the good it can produce? And I guess we just did talk a little bit, we tackled on that. The answer is because human beings are not yet ready or willing to obtain that good. I want to say some of us, yes, but not the majority. And until that vast majority is not yet at that point of maturity, then we are stuck in here. Gloria, please.
I think what I primarily hear is an I mentality. And I think civilizations that work better, it's a we mentality.
Exactly.
And the rugged individualism is the barrier, the hindrance, the impediment. Impediment is what it is. It's an impediment because we're just doing I thinking instead of we thinking. My 2 cents.
Agree. Yeah. Agree.
Do you know who Jeffrey Sachs is?
No, I don't.
You haven't? I'll send you something because he's very good, and he was talking about the G20 from last year,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying people know what they must do, but they won't because it doesn't suit them.
Mm-hmm.
It's for the good of all, but it doesn't suit them, so they won't do it.
Convenience.
So that it's human beings still holding back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not ready or willing to do that.
So you see that for that purpose, calamities will shake the jar. Who is causing the jar to be shaken?
I don't have to say.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Hyacinth. I will certainly double check on that. So letter A, could it also be because it generates new passions in creating new ones? So why does civilization not produce all the goods it can produce? Because human beings are not yet ready or willing to obtain that good. Could it also be because it generates new passions in creating new ones? Comments? So the answer, yes. And because a spirit's faculties do not progress at the same rate, everything takes time. You cannot expect perfect fruit from an incomplete civilization. So, like I said a minute ago, until the vast majority of us is not awakened, so the awakened ones will follow, will stay behind, right? We'll get stuck. There is also this theory that it is necessary a minimum of, Leda, probably you heard that, but it is necessary a minimum of 20% of the civilization to be awakened, to be living in this higher or elevated vibration, so that we create the ambience adequate to actually promote the energy, promote the momentum, so we all move, we all step, you know, or move forward. Have you heard of that?
The spirits, they don't talk much about numbers, right?
Yeah.
I understand that you're engineers, you like numbers, but they don't say. But of course, there should be a great amount of spirits that are able to live and create a better, the adequate environment for us to grow. So there should be, you're right, I believe you're right.
Yeah, so we need a very good number. I mean, very good number may not be everybody, but we need some population, so we can create that ambience, so we can.
Yeah, I think we do have like more than 20% of our population in a good sense of morality already. But the thing is that God is giving this very rebellious spirits like their last chance to be here on earth. Maria will know more than I do about this, because she works a lot with this mediumship, with these spirits that are going away to other planets, right? They are having the last chance here on earth, because the earth will not receive any more spirits with a very low level of evolution, like very materialistic, very selfish, very cruel. These people, these horror crimes that we see today, that we turn on the news, and there are so many horrifying crimes, so many, and this will have to go away. This is the last scream of these very rebellious spirits. God is giving them this last chance.
Yeah, and I agree with you. We probably, we have a good amount of people with a very good level of morality, but sometimes I think to myself, and maybe this is just my impression, that although we do have that, not too many are put it in practice, or we still have some of those that, like Hyacinth was saying, you know, we are still living according to our own convenience, right?
Yeah.
Not
And
too
then,
many.
like Giles likes to say, that this is a very popular planet for reincarnation. In some time, it won't be allowed for everyone.
Yes.
Right? It will be only allowed for those who want to do the good things.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. All right. So 793, what are the signs of a fully developed civilization? What do we think? Giles, you're laughing.
I'm laughing because the signs are not evident yet on this planet.
No,
It's
be
possible if
optimistic.
no, it's possible that a small country has got a level of corruption which is so small as to not affect what is happening in the population. But that's not what we generally see. And it's been that way for a long time, and it's going to be that way for a long time. But we have to remember that the number of lifetimes or reincarnations that the individuals take. So if you took a bar chart and you said, as an engineer, you'll understand this, and that you have one lifetime, one reincarnation, the first time around on the left, and on the right, you have 50,000 times incarnations. Now, how many people are in which area? Well, Maria, who was it just said? No, Gloria said 20. No, somebody else said 20% are moral people. That puts 20% in the well over half area, and the 75% onwards area. I wonder what that chart would look like, because and how it has varied over the last couple of thousand years. That because that's a very important measure of understanding how this civilization is doing. Because as we increase our number of incarnations, we increase the likelihood that each of the individual spirits involved is understanding laughter and love and charitable behavior. Whereas at the beginning, in the early stages on the left of the bar chart, you don't expect anything, because all you'll get is trouble, rape, robbery, and murder. Because that's natural. We're talking natural here. So the progression is undoubted, but the question is, what does that bar chart look like? And your guess is as good as mine, since I can't even guess what an individual's development is like. I know if I can talk to them about the afterlife, then that's quite possible and happens frequently. But of course, who do I meet? Well, people who read books mainly. Oh, sorry, I'm mumbling on, but I like that picture of the bar chart, and I wonder if somebody's guide couldn't get them to get a picture of it 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and today, so we can see 3 different charts and see where we are, so to speak.
Yeah,
And the rest.
And the I guess the other interesting piece of information is what exactly happened so those charts they start looking different, right? There is a question that every once in a while when we go to the Spiritist Center, there is a question that they ask us, or to the public over there. What exactly happened in our lives that caused us to study Spiritism? And some of us say, well, I was born in a Spiritist family, but this is not the majority. Most of the ones go into the Spiritist centers because a life change event happened to their life. Unfortunately, we are still seeking understanding when the pain knocks on your door, on our door. Unfortunately. So Giles, as the last one, would you please read the answer for us? You are
Sure thing. Where are we? You recognize it by its moral development. What are the signs of a fully developed civilization? You think you are advanced because you have made great discoveries and brilliant inventions, because you are better sheltered and clothed than primitive peoples. However, you will only truly have the right to call yourself civilized when you have eradicated vices from your society and when you live as brothers and sisters practicing charity. Until then, you are merely enlightened nations that have only passed through the first phase of civilization.
And then the comment.
The rest is
Yeah,
just-
the comment from Kardec.
just obvious, yes. No, I'll stop there because I've made my point about where we are
Okay.
with the bar chart, and what that bar chart looks like would be a very important and interesting view to see where we are. It does appear, as I mentioned, that a lot of people that I talk to are ready to talk about the afterlife and what it means in this life. And we don't have to get into religion or incarnation. They like the idea of karma, because that means you do not have to seek revenge for to make things just again. No, because each attracts his own, her own results. Anyway, I'm sorry, enough.
Thank you, Giles. Leda, you have something?
Yes, that's something that we have talked about, is that civilization is like a makeup or a varnish that puts us in a way that we look good and we think we are good, but actually inside it's something that comes from the out to the inside. It's first an appearance, just the looks of real improvement, real evolution. But you have to grow it inside of you. And so many of us, and I put myself inside of this, because we're learning still. And sometimes we are like children. Sometimes we want to fight with someone for the stupidest things, and we have to learn, like civilization educates us, but we are not what we think we are. We are trying to be civilized, but we are not totally civilized yet.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I told many times over here, when my experience when I first moved in, and we faced our first hurricane season, and the hurricane was coming, and I saw these two women fighting for a bottle of water in the grocery store, and I thought to myself, heck no, I'm not gonna go backwards. This is not gonna be. It needs more than a bottle of water for me to give up on my civilization. But or for example, I think it's so funny when you go to a stadium to watch a soccer game or whatever competition, and then you see each side praying for God so they can, they win. I mean, as if God was in favor of anybody, so we still have this idea, that, we deserve all, but in reality, we are not thinking collectively, if that word exists. I don't know, but yeah.
It's our side is the right side, so that God help our side.
Our side is the good and bright.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, so Kardec's comments then, civilization has its degrees. Like everything else, civilization in transition is an incomplete civilization. It produces distinct evils unknown in the primitive state. Still, it constitutes a natural and necessary progress that remedies the problems it causes. As civilization is perfect, it ends some of the problems it causes, and these troubles vanish completely with moral progress. The most advanced nations from any two that have reached the top of the social ladder is the one with the least amount of selfishness, greed, and pride. The one whose habits are morally better, more intellectual than material, and where intelligence can develop freely. It is the one with the greatest amount of kindness, good faith, compassion, and generosity. It is where prejudices of class and birth are not rooted because they are compatible with true love for one's neighbor. Its laws do not allow privileges and are the same for every member of its society. It is the one where justice is administered with the least amount of bias, and the weak always find support against the strong. It is where human life, beliefs, opinions are respected, and where there is the smallest number of poor and unhappy individuals. Finally, it is a nation where people who are willing to work are guaranteed the essentials for survival. Yeah, we still have a lot to do. We have a lot to accomplish still. So I will move to progress of societal legislation, and the last one for the day, 794, can society be sufficiently governed only by natural law without human-made laws? Do you believe in that? Can society be sufficiently governed only by natural law without human-made laws?
When we have evolved, I believe so, but it will take some time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we are not, like the spirits said so many times, we are in the infancy of our evolution, right? We will still need that kind of educational tool for quite a while, I guess. So the answer, if the laws of nature were properly understood and people were willing to practice them, they would be sufficient. But society has its demands and requires special laws. So as we evolve, the law will also evolve, but we still need them. So I guess I'll just move one more. And 795, what causes the instability of human laws? I guess this is also a very easy one. Any comment?
Well, I would say that is pride, because everybody wants to have the best opinion, and laws change as the leaders change, I think.
Mm-hmm. Evidently, our side is always the good side, as I say. Gloria, please. Thank
Also,
you.
as society progresses, the laws change.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So would you please read the answer for us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay.
In times of barbarism, the laws were made by the strongest, who framed them to their own advantage. Wow, what a surprise. What's changed? It has therefore become necessary to modify them as men have acquired a clearer comprehension of justice. Human laws will become more stable in proportion as they approach the standard of true justice. That is to say, in proportion as they are made for all and become identified with natural law. That'll be the day. Don't hold your breath.
Yeah. And then it says civilization has created new needs for human beings, and everyone are in harmony with natural. Civilization has created new needs for human beings, and these needs are relative to their social standing, like Gloria was saying. They have the people in civilized societies regulate the rights and duties of their standing through human laws. They have often created imaginary rights and duties that are condemned by the natural law, and that every nation removes from its code as it progresses because people are influenced by their passions. Natural law is absolute and the same for all. Human law is variable and progressive. At the inception of human societies, it only could establish the rights of the strongest. It has its true in there. Comments? Everybody's so quiet today. So 4:15 here in Houston, guys. As always, it has been a pleasure to meet with you all, to see you all, to talk to you all. Annie, please.
Is our group, does the time change next Saturday or the one after?
I believe it's the one after. Let me check a little quick over here.
But the question, I think, is when the time changes, we'll still be at 3 o'clock, right?
Yes, we'll still be 3 o'clock, and let me check over here. Time change.
There seems to be some discussion in the United States of not changing the time to summertime and wintertime.
Yeah, but
I wonder if that's in effect yet, or if
it's
there are holdout states which we can guess who they would be.
yeah, they say that it's gonna be March the 12th, so it's a Sunday. Okay,
There are
so
some countries that's moving not to change, but yeah.